Hello there, sweet friends, and welcome to the Rebookery channel. I am Gina, and I am so happy you are here with me today. So I'm going to work in my sticker journal again today, and I'm going to try to use up a sticker sheet that I have had. Well, it's actually two sticker sheets that I have had for a really long time, and I just have never found the right thing to use them for. So they are these stickers right here. They're shapes and colors. I got them probably at a thrift store or an estate sale, and the date on them is 1967. So yeah, they're old. They're older than me. So I'm gonna try to use them all up because they've been in my stash for so long, and what's the point in having them if I'm not going to use them? So that's my goal. All right, so I see that they have squares and circles and triangles, and if you know me, you know I love houses, and I love very simple houses, and so that's my plan, is to make something with houses. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add just some stuff to the background. This is just some tissue paper and some leftover scraps from my previous journaling this week on my desk. And so I'm just going to put this on the back just to give it a little bit of color. And I'm also wanting to create some spaces on this because I am going to try to make houses. And so I want there to be places for the houses to go, if that makes any sense. So almost like landscape, but you know, I have limited art skills, so it's my attempt to make landscape. So I'm just going to use my glue stick, and remember in my sticker journal, it's full of wallpaper from the 90s and early 2000s. So I believe on this I am working on a sheet of the back. Okay, so the back of a sheet of wallpaper. And then on the left-hand side, that's actually some vintage stationery. I had sewn a couple of sheets of vintage stationery together when I created this journal and made kind of a pocket. And so I like that little squirrel in the upper left-hand corner. So I'm going to use this page just because, I don't know, that squirrel just kind of reminds me of home. All right, so now what I'm doing is just taking my stickers off the sheet and just plopping down some really basic houses, just you know, two shapes. Got a triangle and we got a square. If you put those together, you can make a house. So I'm going to plop those down. Try not to think too much of it. In all truth, this video was about, well, when I journaled, it was in real time about, gosh, I think an hour and 30 minutes. So I got it down to like 13 minutes. So I actually sped it up a lot, but I cut a lot out, especially towards the end when I got my pens out and I did a little bit of pen work. So right now, just basically plopping down those squares, trying not to think too much about it. And that is hard to do if you have a YouTube channel and you journal on camera. Hopefully, I'm not the only one that feels this way, but you know how hard it is to journal when you know the camera is on. So it always takes me a minute or two to forget that the camera is on. And once I do that, then I'm in my head and I'm just kind of doing my thing. It's that beginning of knowing that camera is on. I don't know. I feel like I'm putting on a show or something, and I have to make sure, you know, I don't make mistakes and everything works out right and blah, blah, blah. But here's the part that's the hiccup here. Art is all about making mistakes. Like, that's how you get it to become a piece of art, is making mistakes and moving something from one side to the other, or taking something off, or changing the color, or, you know, just completely redoing an entire layout or an entire page. So letting go of that fear, letting go of that feeling like you're on the stage, that's a big part of figuring out who are you creating for? Who is it that you are trying to make happier by watching this or by looking at this? And this is a hard thing that I struggled with when I first started doing journaling, because I couldn't figure out who my audience was. Because in scrapbooking, my audience was, well, I thought it was my family. Like I thought, oh, because, I'm making all these scrapbooks for my kids and my family and my husband, they're going to love this forever and ever and ever. And they may, but I kept thinking they were my audience. And then when I got into journaling, I shifted, and that was such a hard transition, because I was like, well, wait a second, how can I be an audience? I'm not important. Why is this supposed to please me? I totally had to shift. I totally had to put myself first, and I had to be like, okay, I'm creating not for someone, I'm creating for myself. And if it happens to please other people, awesome. But ultimately, I'm the only one that it needs to please. I'm the only one that needs to be my audience. I'm the only one whose opinion really matters. And that was so tough, because it felt like I was being selfish. When my kids were younger, it felt like I was cheating on them because I wasn't scrapbooking about them and, journaling about them. And that's so silly, because I'll be honest, they did not care. They did not care. That was just like my hobby. They didn't care what I was creating. So that was pressure that I put on myself. And I don't know why I did that. That was just ridiculous. I think as a mom or as a parent, we do that. We feel like everything has to be about our family, or everything has to be about our kids. And it took me a long time to realize that it doesn't. You have to put yourself in there, and you have to put yourself up pretty high on the priority list, and that's tough. That is so tough. So what my process was, and what actually made it easier for me to move into this transition, was my kids grew up. And when my kids grew up, I didn't feel that need or that pressure to have to document every little thing about them. I had done my years and years and years of scrapbooking, so I had a lot of their memories recorded. And that's when I discovered journaling, and that's when I was like, hey, this can be about me. I remember the first time I made a scrapbooking layout about myself, and I felt so guilty. Like I just felt like, oh my God, I had just wasted an entire afternoon. And inside, though, I knew there was such joy in what I had created, because it was me. And so I did that, and then I didn't do it again for a long time. And then I did it again one day. I made something strictly about me, strictly for me. And the more I did it, the more relaxed and comfortable I felt, and the less pressure I felt to have to go and document something really important. The more playful I became, the more free I became, the more, or let me put it this way, the less addicted to supplies I became. I quit thinking I had to have the latest and greatest paper or sticker or stamp or whatever. And I just started to use what I had, and I started to get rid of things that just didn't really jive with my style. And it really just changed everything. People always say, I'm so scared I'm going to make a mistake, or I'm so scared that, like I don't even know where to start. Like I just sit there and, I'm just staring at my supplies and stuff. I know that feeling. I know that feeling so well. And if you work outside of the home or even in the home, you have limited time to create. And so I would do that same thing, and I would be left feeling like, well, God, I just wasted an entire day staring at, my scrapbook supplies, and I didn't do anything. But what I found and what worked, and I didn't realize it worked at the time, I can only tell you this because of experience, but what worked was I just kept doing it. I just kept playing. I just kept making mistakes. I just kept making really icky pages that I didn't know who the audience was. I didn't know what the point of the page was. I don't even know. Like, I don't even know why I made some of the things I made, but it's all part of the process. And so I got here, wherever here is right now, wherever I am in my process, which I don't know, but I got to this place now by doing all of that practice and that jumping in and that just making mistakes and just making things that I had no idea where it was going. Things that, oh gosh, some of the worst pages I'll look at and I'll cringe are the ones where I tried to make it. I tried too hard. Like, I tried to make it something that it wasn't. Maybe I saw something that another artist had done and I was trying to replicate it. And oh God, I look back on those now and I'm like, what in the world was I thinking? Because I can look at something and I can totally tell if I faked it. Like, I can totally tell if I made a page and I was just trying to riff off of, another artist. And I wasn't trying to steal their work. I was just trying to try new things. And that's part of the process, is looking at other artists and seeing what they're doing and then trying it out and turning it into your own. And that's part of the process. That's the good stuff. But once you move through that period, you'll go back and look and you'll be like, yeah, I totally tried that and that just was not me. So it kind of goes back to that series I did, Finding Your Style. I think I did two series on that. But it's all about just playing around, and mistakes are part of that playing around. Mistakes are the biggest part of playing around. Finding out your go-to. What is it that you always, always love? Like, always. You always do. And sometimes I'll get going on something and I'll be like, God, I have no energy to do anything on this. And I'll just do the bare minimum. What's the bare minimum that I did? Because whatever the bare minimum was that I did, that's my go-to. That's my style. That's my jam. That's me. And so I know I'm rambling here and I'm not really talking about stickers or anything, but here's my takeaway from this, guys. Jump in and play. Don't worry about what's going to happen. Don't worry about rules. Don't worry about supplies. Don't worry about who your audience is. You will come to the point where you become your audience. The more confident you become, the more comfortable you become with creating, the more you will embrace you being your own audience, and not thinking that somebody else is going to judge it or, have to have their opinion on it. That, getting rid of that thinking that you have to have that judgment from someone, that's going to be the most freeing thing ever in your creative endeavor. All right, my friends, this has been a long one. I hope you enjoyed this. And by the way, I did use all those stickers. So I hope you are healthy. I hope you're happy. I hope you do something creative today. And I'll see you next time. Bye.